Welcome back to 5-Minute Knives, and the review's so nice, I had to make it twice. The APOC Survival Wakizashi, designed by Angus Trim. We're going to get into this real quick. I want to thank Worksharp for unofficially sponsoring the vid, sending me a bunch of stuff. Thank you so much. Also, you guys have been asking me what do I do for grip strength. The Captains of Crunch, I kind of stick with the 200-pounder here, and then I switch it over like this to work my thumb. Arm wrestling stuff I know, but it all starts with your grip, guys. If you got a weak grip, you can't lift anything. All right. The Angus Trim designed A.P.O.C Survival Wakizashi. Now, this was sent to me by Cult of Athena, and it didn't really look anything like this when it was sent to me. As a matter of fact, even the sheath itself had this little piece on here. Okay, no wrapping or anything. Here's a look at the texture here. It does have a little drainage hole down here at the end. It's a little hard to show on camera here with my setup, but I'm going to roll in some footage here and there. No water bottle cutting or anything silly like that. The water bottle stuff, guys, is just to kind of showcase edge alignment. You could do that with waist-high weeds. Same thing. Same thing. And I did whack a few of those. And yeah, this thing's pretty fun. So at first, when I got this in the mail, I sort of forgot a conversation I was having with David in the very, very, very beginning where he said, yeah, we don't really send out free swords, but maybe you can do a top-down, send it back. I think that's what I offered. We didn't really confirm anything. And then I made a joke on the Instagrams there, and I think he said, well, because of that, we got to send you this wok, which was great. Very nice of him. But foolishly, as soon as I got it in hand, and let's go ahead and look at the 9260 carbon steel blade with an oxide coating, decent enough for what you're going to use it for. And we're going to get into philosophy of use here pretty soon. And yeah, I know Nut and Fancy came up with that. It makes sense. What would you use this for? It's a philosophy of use, of course. Of course I'm going to borrow that term, Stunads. Anyway, so I get this in hand. First thing I thought was, ooh, she's a little heavy for one hand, right? And the handle's a little short for a lot of two-hand stuff. You can, if you're going to bear down on a cut, yes, you can get two hands on it and get a nice cut. But what I recommend for most of you guys is that you check out the APOC Katana, which has a longer handle, longer blade, of course, and that would enable you to change directions two-handed very efficiently. And given the weight of these guys, which they're a little chunky in the weight, I would recommend that most of you guys get the Katana. Now, I like the wok. This is getting strapped on my pack when I'm out there. This is brush clearing. This is self-defense. This is a lot of things, okay? So also defense around the house. Very important to me. And I needed a sheath design that suited my style. I trained in Iaijutsu for a long time, which means you make your cut as you draw. And with this particular implement here, this part of the sheath, is kind of a little, not quite the same. But as you can see with mine, I've added a bit of a thumb ramp here. My thumb goes right in there, and I'm able to draw and swipe very, very quickly now with a few mods. We're going to get into it. You guys know that I don't show mechanisms on the channel. It's purely a knife channel, and it's because YouTube hates mechanisms. So for YouTube's sake, just so you know, this is a replica mechanism. This is not a real mechanism, but this is what I primarily use for home defense. Okay? This mechanism. You know, and it's not real, of course. It's not a functioning mechanism, but it's real enough looking where it will frighten a home intruder. Now, let's say this is your mechanism that you got, right? Well, I'm not a big fan of, let's say you were using a real mechanism, for example, not this replica one. Well, I'm not a big fan of tinnitus. I'm not a big fan of blowing holes through walls. I'm not a big fan of potentially putting pedestrians at risk, across the street. I'm not a big fan of giving away my position should I feel I'm being infiltrated in my little castle here, right? So a lot of you guys are going to think that this is crazy, but for home defense reasons, I have actually switched to Sugar Plum here. This is generally by my side as I watch television, and this guy here is tucked into my robe. So these are like the two I kind of keep with me in a little house samurai, right? So my mechanism, should things go very, very south, and remember, this is a replica, it's not real. But if it were real, this would be what I would go and fetch should I find myself up against multiples. Or, I need a little range. And yeah, this is kind of like my go-to. So in the house now, I have actually switched to the APOC wok. And I kind of messed up. Like I said, I don't know if this was a gift. It was in my freebie pile. I have a pile of blades from other companies that I have to review still. And they don't really ask questions, but I do know Cult of Athena does not like to give stuff out like that. Fair enough, I mean, no judgment on my part. But instantly when I got this in hand, here's the 9260 carbon steel blade. I thought it was sharp, but I thought it could use a little touching up. So again, sharpened with this guy, just my carbide, watching television. Then I switched over to my work sharp field sharpener for my ceramic rod there, and then I have a strop. And now she is ultra sharp. I mean, Sugar Plum here is a laser beam, okay? Sugar Plum, the weed killer. And by the way, guys, if you're just trying to work on your edge alignment, you don't need water bottles. It's a waste. It's kind of silly. Waist-high weeds is just fine. You'll see your cuts as clean as they are. And yeah, I've done a bit of that. So this came to me, and without thinking, I just sharpened it. So already I bought it, right? Retails for about $1.50 on Cult of Athena's site. And I just kept feeling like it's a little heavy for one hand, and the handle's a little short for a lot of two-hand stuff when you're changing direction, edge alignment, things like that. Now, if you're bearing down, you know the cut you're gonna make, go ahead and get that other hand on there, and you can push-pull, add a lot of momentum. But because it was so heavy, I'm gonna roll in some footage of this, I milled out these G10 scales here. It reduced the weight so much that now she's a very fast one-handed item, and the POB didn't really seem to change too much at all. She's still right there. That's still pretty quick. Now with this guard here, you can actually hook a finger here. So let's say this is all you had for survival out in the woods. You could actually do some close work here. Your pull cuts are no problem. It's a flat grind. It's not a hollow or anything. Yeah, feels like a flat grind, high flat grind. I mean, this actually has some utility. Plus you have like a choil here that the blade doesn't start till about there. So you're good, man. You can actually choke up. This is a bit of a hot spot if you get underneath it, but it is a nice place. As you can see, I put some Wilson's tennis wrap on here. Other thing I had about this is out in the woods, this exposed tang would get very, very cold. I noticed outside it's been cold in Colorado, and this got very, very cold. So I added this Wilson tennis over grip, thinnest you can find, and I started wrapping it from this point down, so this way my sheath that I made, and I'll roll in some of that footage, interfaces nicely. So for my style of iaijutsu, of draw and cutting, and by the way, I can do that so fast standing up. I'm sitting down, I got all my camera crap around. I am lightning with this sucker now. I mean, it makes nice noises in the air. It's not too expensive, so you don't feel too bad. And like I said, I didn't really care for what it came with, but this was very serviceable. There was no rattle in the sheath or anything like that. Saya, or scabbard, depending on what you want to call it. And a lot of you guys are knife dudes that watch this channel, and you're wondering like, well, why would I need a sword, Joe? Well, a short sword's a little bit different. Honestly, I wouldn't feel underarmed with this thing out and at the ready should I be attacked by an Aminal. You know what I mean? But that's me. I've trained my whole life with these things, guys. You know, you may not be as confident. However, they're a lot of fun. If the design appeals to you, they have, you know, other designs in the lineup. But if this design appeals to you, I'd say for $1.50, go ahead and pull the trigger. The only thing I would recommend is that you mill out these handles. Be very, very careful. If you go too far, you're going to make a hole through it. Don't be mad at me that you're not handy, okay? And I know a lot of you guys can't make a sheath like this. This was a pain in the butt. I had to like block out some stuff there. This is glued into place. I also have one of the original screws going through both just to kind of hold it. And then I have this under wrap here, paracord, and also glued into place. This is how I kind of carry it around the home. And you kind of get it started like so. And it's just a very nice, smooth son of a gun. Look at Sugar Plum. Yeah. Okay. She's out. She's cranky. She's got an opinion on what you're up to. And you really don't want to upset her. I believe in the home. This is my go-to. And the fact that I have this channel, it's all the more plausible that I have something sharp laying around. Yay or nay. And yes, if I really feel, you know, overmatched, there is a mechanism close by. Of course, that's a replica. So here's the deal. Cult of Athena, I hit him up and I said, oops, sorry, I started modding that without thinking. You know, if I was supposed to return this, it's mine now. So I totally get that. Guys, just invoice me if that's a problem, but they didn't answer. So I don't know if they're mad or not. Sorry, wasn't thinking. But it's for sale, so at minimum, you made a sale. How could you be mad at me? And it's a very complimentary review, by the way. This oxide coating is not the greatest, but it's very slick and smooth. This baby is a cutter, and you don't have to feel bad for using it. I recommend you do. It's a lot of fun. Also, give yourself a lanyard here. Can't go wrong with a lanyard. This is the sweet spot. Now, you guys know when you used to play baseball, some of you, that if you hit the ball on the meat of the bat, you barely felt it. But if you hit the ball on the end of the bat, or a little too close to the handle, it rattled, you know, and vibrated up your arm. This thing will do the same thing. So if you're a little too high up, a little too low up when you make your cut, you will feel a vibration there. The sweet spot, the node, seems to be right here. And there is a little cold spot right here, but that's how I know I'm indexed in the dark. Feels great right there. This is perfect. Now I'm fast. Okay? Now I have this sucker ready to go. All right, so for me, this makes all the sense in the world. By the way, here's my training boken from when I was a small child. Been refinished. I shortened it down a little bit, but I've been using this thing for the great majority of my life. No one's broken it. Many sparring sessions this has seen. And so this really suited my training style. That's kind of why I had to remake the saya, the scabbard. This area here, I wanted a little push-off point that was comfortable in the dark, easy to get out, and then easy to read index. Look at that. So I really love this thing. Would I spend my own money on it? Well, you guys got your answer. I may have to. And that's totally fine with me. It all kind of worked out. I love this thing. Sugar Plum, this is my sweet pea. Between Sugar Plum and my Kinsler Sensei 9-inch, I am a happy camper around the home. That's it. That's all a modern samurai needs. These two guys right here. And I have other knives as well. Like, you know, I always keep a good folder on me. So you know I have my Endura 4, my favorite folding knife of all time, in K390 steel. I purpleized this one too, just on a purple kick. I don't know why, it's just kind of my thing now. So they say it's the royal color, and I've been on this kingly journey, building my businesses and getting my body right and getting my mind right. That's what happens when middle-aged guys break up with their ladies, right? We get jacked and successful. Let that be a lesson to you. So no offense to anybody happily married, but if you're not happily married, let me tell you, there's life after. Just don't try dating. It's miserable out there, I'll tell you that. You know, just stick to yourself and just do the things you want to do. Purple carbon fiber here. Like, oh, cool. I think this is badass, guys. I made it cooler. So, is the APOC Wakizashi perfect? No, but for most of you, this will be totally serviceable and fine, and you can attach it to your packs this way. There was no wobble or rattle in the sheath at all. Full tank construction is solid. The implement feels solid in your hands. The only thing I would say is this is probably a little too heavy for most people to wield effortlessly. So the only mod I would say that you really need, maybe there's two. One, you're gonna want a lanyard for sure. This thing gets away from you, you're gonna have a bad day. And then two, you may wanna mill out the handle. It made all the difference when swinging it around. Plus, if it gets a little cold in the hand in wintertime, you're probably wearing gloves anyway. If you wear gloves when you're out, you're good. You don't need this wrap. But I have this around the house. To me, this is a shock absorbent item here, a little mod. And I really like it, by the way. A little crazy glue kind of holds her in place. And that's it. Guys, I could not be happier with this freaking sword. And it's not like some giant sword either. 20-inch blade, you know, it's not giant. As a matter of fact, specs on this, 28¼ inches in overall length, 20¼ inch blade, 1 pound 15 ounces. I mean, I really milled it, and it did not affect anything. The point and balance is 2.5 inches down the blade. That didn't seem to move. Grip length is 7¾ inches. So there you go. How wide are your hands? My mitts, well here's an Endura 4. Yeah, that's how wide my hands are. So pretty wide, so it's a tight fit getting both hands on here if you're gonna be changing directions. They're right on top of each other, so if anybody knows anything about the Japanese sword arts, you want a little gap here. You want more of a push-pull going on, and it's easier to change direction that way. So not quite perfect for that, but as a one-handed implement, I couldn't have asked for anything better. So Cult of Athena, even if I have to pay for this guy, which by the way, I'm fully offering, shoot me an invoice. It was my fault for modding it without asking first, but I gotta be honest with you guys, I couldn't be happier with this design, with this little implement. I've been waiting for a long time to try out the APOC line by Angus Trim. He's got like a gladius, a cutlass, a katana, a broadsword. Just nothing was quite right. Now this is the point for you guys. Most of you guys are bushcrafters, some of you are tactards, some of you are mall ninjas, a lot of you are Steven Seagal, you know, admirers or whatever. And then lower on the totem pole, we got some Olight fam watching this channel. Here's what I could say. All right, is this for you? Yes, totally yes. It's just gonna be a little bit heavy in the handle, but it's not too long a blade to attach to a pack. If you can find a good way to attach this to a pack, I think you're gonna be really happy you have it out there. Once you get to your campsite, take it with you, man. You know, there's something very like zen and satisfying about walking the woods with your blade, with a real sword. You know what I mean? One you can count on. I was looking for something that wasn't a katana, that wouldn't fall apart on me in the woods, that it wasn't too expensive, so if I broke it or, you know, screwed it up, I wouldn't cry. And that's what I found in my Sugar Plum here. She's perfect. I love this thing. So thank you, Cult of Athena, either way. Either way, if it was a freebie, well, you guys are amazing. If it wasn't a freebie, well, thank you for sending it early. I mean, I was one of the first people to get this, so I rushed the review out. Just out of the box, you guys are going to be very, very happy. But if you're handy like I am, feel free to do some of this stuff. No, I will not make one of these for you. It was a pain. I had to do all this blocking. I'm not doing it. But other than that, I mean, this is the perfect Apocalypse implement. Not too heavy once it's been milled. The 9260, it gets pretty sharp. Not as sharp as something like my K390 Endura. I mean, this thing is actually a razor. But it gets pretty damn sharp, and it's got a nice grind on it. Fast shipping from Cult of Athena once they told me they were sending it. I have no complaints, guys. I mean, if you mill out the handles, you're probably good to go. Throw a lanyard on it, maybe. But this is totally serviceable here. You can attach it to a pack, leave it in the corner of the house. To me, I prefer this over a mechanism. I don't want to give away my position, blind myself, get tinnitus, send around through sheetrock, you know? I just feel more competent with this, and I've been carrying mechanisms for 20 years every day. Take from that what you will. Yeah, that's my 2 cents, guys. I know I went a little long on this review. This is the first of many, by the way, too. I will do update reviews. I'll do some cutting stuff. You know, we'll get into it, but just right off the rip, this is a brand new item, just came out. Go buy it. You'll be happy. You will be happy. And if you're not, then you're kind of hard to please, because this checks all the boxes I was looking for many, many years, by the way. Many, many years. Everything else that was in this form factor or price point was just cheap crap. And I wouldn't trust it, or it was like Mall Ninja looking stuff like that Honshu line. I'm not down with that. Poorly constructed. This is full tang. You know what you're getting. It's solid right out of the box. So, all right, long review. It's not 5 minutes, I know. It doesn't always have to be 5 minutes, you little turds. Anyway, thank you to our subscribed Starians, by the way. Let's roll them in. They make part of this possible too. Get on there if you want something to promote. Name it after your business, and I'll give you a shout out every single video. I try to include you guys. Here they are. Thank you guys. I love you all. And we'll see you next time on 5 Minute Knives.